This is the Lucid Press video number 2, and today we're still working with our brochures. So let's look a little bit more maybe about some text wrapping, some pictures, and some picture formatting that we can do inside there. So if we want to add some pictures, there's a couple different things that we can do. We can click Images. From Images, we can use the Bing search, and we can also upload our own images. Under Images, we can do Manage. We can maybe make a folder. Okay, so in this one, I might call this WWF or World Wildlife. And then that way, whenever I add some pictures, I can click Upload Images. I have some pelican pictures here. Imagine that. And hold on, mine is a little bit slow. Sorry, some of my other pictures are not coming up here. But let me just see if I can't find, I already have another pelican. Here's another pelican I could put in there, and just real quick, let me just maybe add another picture or two here of the marsh. I can add, and I'll add one more image of of one of the sunsets I took here. Alright, so now I have some of my pictures. So if I want to replace a picture, I can click right here, and I can go over here to my images. I can click the picture and I can drag it, or I can click a picture and drag it and let go. Now when I did that, what happened? Okay, when I did that, it automatically put that as a background on there. So let me do Control Z or undo. So why did that happen? And that's because I had clicked here in this particular panel, the blue panel, and then I click and drag that, and then I released it. Although actually that does look like a really good first panel. I may need to remember that. So if I unclick that, I could click a picture. And drag. So maybe I'll drag this picture here just so I'll have a picture placeholder. Okay, so again, I'm going to go over here and look in my folder. Okay, all right, so one of the things that we might see here is that my picture does not fit all the way in there. So over here on the right, we've got a couple of options, and if you don't see it, you can click the little arrow on the far right. Okay, and we can click the image. So here's one of the things. We've got scale to fill. We can have scale to fit, which is in this case what I need to do, so that way you can see the entire one. We could actually crop it, or we could stretch it. So maybe over here I could do the crop, and maybe I only want to use one picture here, or one pelican. Okay, and I can press Enter to complete, or I can press Escape to undo the cropping as I'm currently editing it. Up here I can also click Effects, and that's where I can adjust some saturation, some contrast, and some brightness. Okay, and we'll cover those vocabulary words a little bit later. Okay, when I click the second picture down here, it's a little bit hard to be seen. So let's kind of look and see why that is. Number one, scale to fit. I'm going to do scale to fit. Okay, and we'll look at that part in a minute. Over here with opacity, I replaced this picture, and the picture that I replaced was very opaque. So see, I had to do that. But now you can see, so now I may need, so now I may need to adjust the frame. See, but now adjusting the border, that's not going to work. So in this case, I may need to go back and do a stretch or a tile. So there are a couple different items that I have that I can do. Over here we've got the border. Remember, the border is in size of pixels, px. I can click over here. I can do a style of border. So a little bit later you can have to do those. And then I can pick the color of the border. When I can click the color of the border, remember I can use the little eyedropper. And I can put that right on top of PD's head. PD is the pelican on the right. And no, I did not name him. He was already pre-named when I met PD. Okay. I can do some rounding of the corners. So if you can kind of see that difference there. So remember I showed you previously, if you want to see how it's looking, you can click the arrow at the top right to kind of see how that looks, and you can press escape. To get back, so again, so we talked about that we can do a drop shadow on here. So remember, anytime it has the three little things here, that means that it is transparent. So we can do a drop shadow. On the drop shadow, we can even adjust the angle, so kind of where we want the drop shadow to go. We can do a distance. We can adjust the opacity of it as well. And then later we could actually link a picture. So if it was a brochure that was going to be shown live, we could do that. Over here on layout, this is something that is really important. This is an important vocabulary word, which is called aspect ratio. And what that means is if our picture here, let's just say I want to make the picture 2.5 inches for the width, the height automatically changes. Okay, maybe I want the width to be 2 inches. Okay, and so if we uncheck that, so we can check it, check it and uncheck it. So when it's checked, that means it's going to keep that in size. So that way it does not get all distorted. Because here's one of the mistakes some students do. On some of these, they'll kind of get a corner, and then they'll try to resize it and stuff, and it just does not look good. You can also click this part here and rotate a picture. You can lock a picture. So maybe you've got 5 or 6 pictures. Remember we talked about the brightness, the color, the opacity. So once you've got a picture exactly the way you want, you can click over here and you can lock the style, which apparently we cannot do, but we could do. Another thing really quick, and this may be another video, would be to arrange items. Okay, so what would we do maybe if we wanted part of the world wildlife text to go over this particular picture? So over here on the order for the picture, we could send it to the back. So that is under arrange and layout. Okay, so then if we came over here to our text, okay, and again, so we can adjust our font here. So ideally we'd use the same font that we used earlier. Okay. So this is the World Wildlife Federation. Okay, so right now, can we see the rest of the text that we have under here? No. Okay, so one of the things that we can do is by then, if we, okay, so then if we click that little plus at the bottom, that's going to let us know that we have more text there. I'm sorry. And again, it is a little bit tricky sometimes to make sure you kind of click the right parts. Remember, we worked with this yesterday over here on our text. and we can adjust if we have it in the top, bottom, right, left, what color we want. Okay, and then we've got our pelicans here, so we can put part of our pelicans underneath. So today I want to show you a little bit with the layout, and you can work with the order. You can work with aligning items and matching sign. That gets a little bit more technical for what we're going to do for today. And that's about it. So again, so the best way to kind of get in here is just to go and practice and see what happens.